Is there a greater free speech warrior in America right now than Elon Musk?
No, I mean, and especially given that it's really all downside for him, right? I
Right.
mean, he doesn't really gain anything by being so out there defending free speech. In fact, his other companies have already been threatened. Remember, he was excluded from the EV summit that the White House did. They clearly see him as an enemy. You had President Biden at the White House podium saying, investigate this guy. We need to be looking more closely at him. There have been murmurs about the FCC restricting SpaceX's ability to put up more satellites. So he is definitely facing all sorts of political retaliation or reprisals because of this position he's taken on free speech. And so, but he's doing it because he genuinely believes in the principle. That's really all that's in it for him. And that I think makes it pretty amazing. And if it weren't for Elon, we wouldn't know anything about the government's involvement in the suppression of speech. Again, we had the Twitter files get released. That was 100% Elon's decision. And we learned that, that it wasn't just a matter of corporate bias here, where the executives of Twitter wanted to suppress people on the other side of the political spectrum that they disagreed with. They were being encouraged to do so by permanent Washington, by the deep state. You had 80 FBI agents coordinating with them, pointing out posts that they wanted taken down. You had weekly meetings between Twitter's Trust and Safety Department and the FBI and Homeland Security and the State Department and even maybe even the CIA. So we learn all sorts of really disturbing details about the way that our government is involved in censorship. And again, that only happened because Elon was willing to open up the Twitter files.
What do you make of the mass exodus of viewers from Fox and what I described as, the loss of its monopoly in conservative media? Just you look at media and your availability as a conservative viewer or even just, center viewer,
right?
What's out there for you today versus just 10 years ago, David? It's a whole new world.
Completely. I mean, you have so many more alternatives now. I mean, basically the podcasting world is, it's like cable, but with an infinite number of channels, and you can tune into whoever you want. You can get that content distributed to you, and you have so many choices now. And so there's really not a huge need to go to Fox. I'd say that Tucker's show was the main reason that many, many people tuned into Fox, certainly in the younger demographic. His show was, I think, uniquely capable of reaching young people and even Democrats and young Democrats. So it was a unique draw for Fox. And just speaking as a business person, I really can't fathom Fox's business decisions here. That they thought they could fire their most important host, their top-rated host on their network, and really, I think in the history of cable news, and that they could do it in the way they did, and there wouldn't be blowback. I just can't fathom the business decisions they made. And then to try and think that you can make it better by, dumping an Oppo file on him, I don't really understand, again, the business logic of that. All you're going to do is antagonize and alienate your viewer base. It doesn't do anything to woo those viewers back. I mean, who are they trying to appeal to with that Oppo? I mean, the New York Times likes the Oppo dump, but I don't think the viewers do. So I just can't fathom the business decisions that they're making here. It's very strange to me. And I don't, you're talking about maybe the motive here is the Dominion settlement, the idea that Dominion demanded this as part of the settlement, and then Dominion has come out saying, no, we didn't. I actually believe
we didn't
Dominion
insist. We didn't insist.
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to believe Dominion in this. I'll tell you why. Because Tucker's firing cost Fox more than that $800 million. Their stock price just the day that they fired him went down by something like $1 billion. So, Fox lost more by firing Tucker than they did in that settlement. And Dominion doesn't gain anything by the firing of Tucker. Maybe they don't like Tucker, but Tucker was not the problem from Dominion's standpoint. If you look at
Maria
Tucker's show
was.
during the There were other hosts were far more sympathetic to Sidney Powell and brought her on. And by contrast, Tucker dismantled Sidney Powell. And all the text messages that were revealed show is that Tucker said, hey, I caught Sidney Powell in a lie just like I expected to. And he was calling her names that I'm sure Dominion agrees with. So of all the people that Dominion, of all the hosts on Fox that Dominion would have a problem with, I don't see why it would be Tucker. But more importantly, they don't gain anything. They don't, there's not a compensating benefit to Dominion on the level that there's a cost to Fox. So in other words, if you're in a settlement negotiation, right? I can understand why Dominion would demand $800 million, and I can understand why Fox would not want to pay that $800 million. But I don't understand how they could reach agreement on a point like firing Tucker, because it costs Fox $1 billion, and Dominion makes zero off that. So just as a matter of negotiation, I don't understand how there can be a meeting of the minds on that point. It doesn't make sense to me.
I agree with you. I've doubted this is the reason all along. I'm just basing my update today on just letting people know what they're saying, that Tucker was apparently. But can I say one other thing? The fact that it's now apparently wound up in the lawyer letter, the true nastygram. This is how you send a real nastygram, not what happened with Wilson Sonsini with his CYA letter to Dominion and to Media Matters from Fox. Like, hey, you better really stop printing all the leak stuff. We're really kind of mad about you doing the leaks. Wink, wink. What's interesting about it is if they really are going to go after Fox, saying you made Tucker promises about Dominion, you promised not to smear him in connection with any settlement, and you promised that you would protect his texts from leaking to the public, then that reopens everything about Dominion in any litigation between Tucker and Fox. Sure, you could go to Brazil or Colombia and get some work done to your face, but you don't need to do that. You see, you can make yourself look great right from the comfort of your own home thanks to Genucel and the final week of their Mother's Day sale. Look years younger right before your eyes. Here's a real review from Genucel.com. Claire writes, I absolutely love Genucel. My skin feels so good, tighter, younger, with a more even tone. And I only used it for a week. My advice for everyone, take a before picture. Her husband Jim writes in saying he loved it too. Nothing works like Genucel because it's a family recipe for over 20 years made by a compounding pharmacist in small batches and always safe, cruelty-free, and natural. Now, go to Genucel.com/MK60 and save over 70% off Genucel's most popular package. That's all their best stuff during their Mother's Day sale. Every most popular package features their ultra retinol and dark spot corrector on top of all the other good stuff. You get that as well. Don't wait. Go to Genucel.com/MK60, Genucel.com/MK60, and you will get a complimentary Spa Essentials box with every package order for just one more week, plus free upgrade to priority shipping. GENUCEL.com/MK60. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.